Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make another YouTuber statue. This time, due to popular demand, I'll be showing you how to make Exploding TNT. If you want to make him, here's what you're going to need. You will need some red stained clay, and some pink stained clay. Also, grab yourself some black stained clay, and some black wool. Grab some dark grey, light grey, white, and finally grab yourself some yellow wool. And once you have each one of those materials right there, and once you've figured out what you want to make it, I'll be making it right here, you're going to want to kick off your statue with a row of 8 pink clay in a row on the floor. That's 8, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just like that. And once you have your row of 8 pink clay, this is what you want to do next. You now want to stack 3 more rows of 8 pink clay on top of your base row. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, and 3, just like that. Once you have your 4 rows of pink clay, this is what you want to do next. Starting from the left hand side of the next row, do this sequence of blocks. Do 2 dark grey, 1 pink clay, 2 dark grey, 1 pink clay, 2 dark grey. What you then want to do is 8 solid rows of dark grey. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now we just have to fill all of these in. So that'll be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And once you have your 8 rows of dark grey, this is what you want to do for the next row. So starting from the left hand side again, you want to do this sequence of blocks. Do 1 black clay, 1 pink clay, 1 black clay, 2 yellow, then 3 black clay. For the next row, and starting from the left hand side again, by the way, the rest of the torso is just going to be from the left hand side in a sequence of blocks, so that's the last time I'll be saying that. So for the next row, do 1 red clay, 1 pink clay, then make the rest of the row red clay. For the next row, do 1 red clay, 2 pink clay, then make the rest of the row red clay. For the next row, do 1 light grey, 2 pink clay, 2 light grey, 1 white wool, 2 light grey. For the next row, do 1 white wool, 2 pink clay, 2 white wool, 1 black wool, 2 white wool. For the next row, do 1 white wool, 2 pink clay, 1 white wool, 2 black wool, 2 white wool. For the next row, do 2 white wool, 2 black wool, 1 white wool, 1 black wool, 2 white wool. For the next row, do 1 black wool, 1 white wool, 1 black wool, 1 red clay, 1 pink clay, 2 red clay, 1 black wool. For the next row, do 2 white wool, 1 red clay, 3 pink clay, 1 red clay, 1 white wool. For the next row, do 2 red clay, then 3 pink clay, 1, 2, 3, then 3 red clay. And for the final row of the torso, do 3 red clay, followed by 3 pink clay, followed by 2 red clay. And what you want to end up with once you've completely finished the torso is something that should look exactly like this. Once you have that taken care of, we can now move on to the arms. So once you have reached this point right here, you now want to come all the way round to the right hand side of your statue, and you want to come all the way down to the first row of the torso, which is this top row of dark grey that we have here, just below the bell. Going right of this dark grey wall, you want to do a row of 4 red clay. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 coming out of the right hand side of your statue. Once you have that first row, you now want to stack 3 rows directly on top of it. So 1, 2, and 3. Just like that. Now, we're just going to build up the entire rest of the arm just as we would any other part of this statue. So from going left to right and building up multiple rows. So for the next row, going from left to right, do 2 light grey, 1 white wool, 1 light grey. For the next row, do 1 black wool, 1 white wool, 1 light grey, 1 white wool. For the next 2 rows, do 1 black wool, then 3 white wool. And as I said, you want to do that for 2 rows. So once you've done the 1 row, do the exact same thing on top of it. For the next row, do 2 black wool, 1 white wool, 1 red clay. For the next row, do 2 white wool, 2 red clay. For the next row, do an entire row of red clay. And for the final row of the arm, do 3 red clay followed by 1 pink clay. And what you want to end up with is something that should look a little bit like this. And of course, once you have got one arm done, we now want to do the exact same thing all the way over on the opposite side of the statue. So coming all the way over to the left hand side and coming down to the equivalent grey block on the left hand side of our statue, we want to start off with a row of 4 red clay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh look, the rain. It's going to stop the TNT exploding. Wonderful. Let me get rid of this, guys, and then we can continue. Anyway, so once you have that first row of 4 red clay, you then want to add 3 more rows directly on top of it. So 1, 2, and 3, just like that. You then, for the next row, want to do 1 light grey, 1 white, 2 light grey. Then for the next row, do 1 white, 1 light grey, 1 white, 1 black. Then for the next 2 rows, do 3 white wool, then 1 black, and as I said, you want to have that for 2 rows, so once you've done 1, do the exact same thing just above it. Then for the next row, do 1 red, 1 white, 2 black. Then for the next row, do 2 red clay, then 2 white wool. For the next row, do an entire row of red stained clay. And for the final row of the arm, do 1 pink, then 3 red. And what you want to end up with in total, once you have the entire front of your statue done, is something which should look exactly like this. So once you have both arms, the torso and the legs completely taken care of, we can then move on to the next bit. So once you've reached this point right here, come all the way around to the back of your statue and come all the way down to the bottoms of the feet. Take out your pink stained clay and take each end of the bottoms of the feet and extend them out of the back of the statue by 3 with your pink stained clay like this. 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. Then connect each one of those third blocks together like this to form a U shape. We're now going to build up the entire back of the statue on top of these 8 back blocks that we have right here, very much how we just built up the entire front of your statue. Let's continue. So, on top of this back row, you first of all want to stack 3 rows of pink clay. So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, and 3, just like that. You then, for the next row, want to, starting from the left hand side, do 1 dark grey, 1 pink clay, 1 dark grey, 2 pink clay, 1 dark grey, 1 pink clay, 1 dark grey. For the next 2 rows, do 2 solid rows of dark grey wool, so that'll be 1 and 2, just like that. For the next row, do 4 pink clay in the 4 center spots of your row and then do dark grey everywhere else. For the next row, do 1 dark grey on each end of your row, and then do pink clay everywhere else. And as a matter of fact, you also want to do that for the row above as well. So just do a single dark grey wool on the left and right hand side of the row, then do pink clay everywhere else, just like that. And once you've done those 2 rows, the rest of the back of the statue is actually quite easy, because the rest of the back of the statue is just entirely pink clay. So what you essentially want to do is just match the height of the front of your statue with your pink clay, and then just completely fill in the back like this. The reason that it's completely pink clay is because ExplodingTNT appears to wear a cape of some sort, so that's why it is. It's just completely pink clay and nothing else. So what you want to end up with is something that should look a little bit like this. Once you've reached this point right here, all we have to do now are the backs of the arms, which are different to the front, unfortunately. So once you've got that taken care of, come all the way down to the left hand side of your statue, and you want to be in line with the first row of the fronts of the arms like this. Going left of this pink clay, you want to do a row of 4 red clay. So 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. We're now just going to build up the entire back of this arm, very much how we did the entire front of the arm. So for the second row of the back of the arm, do another row of red clay. Then for the next row, starting from the left hand side, do 3 red clay, then 1 pink clay. For the next row, do 2 red clay, 2 pink clay. For the next row, do 2 light grey, 2 pink clay. For the next 2 rows, do 1 white wool, and then 3 pink clay. And like I said, you want to have that for 2 rows, so once you've done that to one, do the same to the other. Once you've done that, you can then actually just make the entire rest of your arm pink clay, just as I'm doing now. And what you want to end up with is something that should look a little bit like this. The reason that the entire back of the arm is just pink clay is because, quite simply, he wears the cloak and it spans most of his back. Once you've got that left arm taken care of, we can now move over to the right arm. So coming down to the bottom row of the front of the arm again, just going right of this pink clay, do your 4 red clay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You then want to stack a row of red clay on top of that first row. You then, for the next row, want to do 1 pink clay, then 3 red clay. Then for the next row, do 2 pink clay, then 2 red clay. For the next row, do 2 pink clay, then 2 light grey. For the next 2 rows, do 3 pink clay, then 1 white wool. And like I said, you want to have the exact same thing for 2 rows. So once you've got the first row done, do the second row. And as you guys might predict, once you've got those 2 rows taken care of, you can then completely fill in the rest of the arm with pink clay. And that will be the entire back of your statue. Very, very plain in comparison to the front of the statue, but hey, that's the way it is. So once you've got the entire back of your statue 100% completo, we can now move on to the side. So move all the way over to this side of your statue first of all, and come all the way down to the bottoms of the feet. The way that we're going to do the entire side of the statue is we'll first work on top of this left row, and then we'll work on top of this right row. So left row first, on top of this pink clay, stack a row of 4 pink clay coming up. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then make the entire rest of the leg dark grey wool. Like this. Once you've done that to the left column, in this case you actually want to do the exact same thing to the right column. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 pink. And then make the entire rest of the leg dark grey wool. Once you've got the leg taken care of, we can now move up to the bottoms of the arms. First of all, you just want to fill in the bottoms of the hands with red clay, just as I've done now. But then, building on top of this left clay, you want to do this sequence of blocks. Do 3 red wool, 1, 2, 3, followed by 2 white, 1, 2, followed by 1 red, and then fill the entire rest of the arm in with pink clay. Like that. Once you've got that left block taken care of, come to the right block here, and on top of this right block, do 3 red clay, 1, 2, 3, followed by 3 white wool, 1, 2, 3, then 1 red clay, then fill the rest of the side of the arm in with pink clay. And then once you've got the side of the arm filled in, also come up to the top of the arm and just completely fill in the top of the shoulder here with pink clay. You only have to come in by 3, don't come in by any less. You can come in by more, but it's really unnecessary. Once you've got the entire side of your statue completely taken care of, it should look a little bit like this. Fairly simple. Once you've got one side done, you now want to move all the way over to the opposite side. So we're now on the opposite side of our statue. Guess what? This side's easier. Why, you might be wondering? Well, look at what we have in front of us. All we have to do is just copy exactly what we have on that side of the statue and apply it to this side of the statue. It is as easy as that. Exactly what I'm doing, and I would implore you guys to do the exact same thing. If for whatever reason you get stuck, if for whatever reason you have trouble looking directly forward at what we've done over there, then you can just go over to the other side of your statue and just give yourself a nice little refresher. But I don't think you guys will have any trouble because I just built this side of the statue using that method, and it should look, once it's been finished, exactly like that other side of the statue. Looked 100% identical. So once you've got both sides of your statue 100% completed like that, we can now move on to the final stage, which is going to be Exploding TNT's head. So move all the way around to the front of your statue now and come all the way up to the top of the torso. Take out your light grey wool and stack a row of 8 light grey on top of the top row of the torso, like this. So stack a row of 8 light grey on top of the top row of the torso. Once you've got that first row taken care of, you now want to add an additional row in front of that base row. Then for the next row, still placing in front of this row of light grey, you want to do a row of 4 red stained clay in the center of the row, and then you want to do light grey wool everywhere else, like that. You then want to now start building on top of this most outward row, the row that has the red in it. So for the next row of Exploding TNT's face, starting from the left hand side, you want to do 2 light grey, then 1 black wool, then 2 red clay, 1 black wool, 2 light grey. That's the second row. For the next row, do 1 light grey, 3 black wool, 1 red clay, 2 black wool, 1 light grey. For the next row, do 1 light grey, 2 black wool, 2 white wool, 2 black wool, 1 light grey. For the next row, do an entire row of light grey wool. For the next row, do 1 light grey, 1 white wool, 1 black wool, 2 light grey, 1 black wool, 1 white wool, 1 light grey. For the next row, do 2 light grey, 1 white wool, 2 light grey, 1 white wool, 2 light grey. And for the final row of Exploding TNT's face, just do an entire row of light grey wool. So you want to end up with something that should look exactly like this. I know what you guys are thinking, this isn't exactly finished. You're right about that. Once you've got his face taken care of, we now have to kind of build the outline of his head, and then we can do his hood. His hood's going to cover most of his face, and if we do the outline of his head, I think it's just going to make it easier for us to place the hood, rather than trying to explain anything. So once you've got the face taken care of, alright, so move all the way around to the back of the head, and where we have this first initial row of light grey wool, you want to take out your light grey, or any colour really, it doesn't even matter, and extend this first initial row over the back of the statue until it overhangs the back of the statue by 2 rows. A little bit like this. Once you've done that, you then want to take the back 2 corners of the head that you've just made, and you want to raise them up until they are equal height with the face, and then you just want to connect them to the face like this, and you also want to connect them together. What you essentially want to do is form a nice big light grey cube shape, like this. We didn't really have to do this, but it's going to make placing the pink stained clay for his hood just a little bit easier. This is what you want to do now, so come all the way down to the bottom of the back of the head. What you basically want to do is you want to start off by placing a row of 10 pink clay that kind of sits underneath the back of the head like this, kind of like on the top row of the actual back. You then essentially just want to stretch that first original row of pink clay out of the back of the statue until it kind of just, you know, it's one row out of the back of the statue in relation to the actual head, like this. You then want to take these two corners of our pink clay and you want to raise them up so that they are one block higher than the head itself. Then connect them together like this, and then bring them towards the front of the statue until they overhang the front of the face by one row, like this. You then want to connect each one of those rows together, like so, and then you want to take each one of these two front corner blocks and you want to bring them down until they are in line with the top row of the torso, or more accurately in line with the top of the fronts of the arms. And you also want to connect them to the fronts of the arms like this, if you guys can see what I've done there. What we now want to do is we just want to add a few blocks for the hood onto the front of the face. So we just want to first of all add an additional row of pink clay just at the top here, like that, coming down. You then want to kind of like do these upside down L shapes, so you want to do 1, 2 here, and then 1, 2 coming down, like that. You then want to do the exact same thing on the right, so 1, 2, and 1, 2. Like so. So you just want to conceal the face just a little bit, like that. What you now want to do, once you've added in all of those extra blocks in front of the face like that, you then just want to completely fill in all of that shape that you've made with your pink clay, all of the hood shape, just completely fill it in with pink clay as I'm doing now. So just fill everything in, each one of these faces, just completely fill them in with pink clay, and it is as easy as that. Hopefully you guys managed to follow along, what am I talking about? Naming body parts. Follow along with the hood explanation. It's not too difficult, I hope. I think that having the framework of the head in there kind of helps a little bit, because I mean everybody knows how big the head is. It's like 8x8, but well, 8x8x8 I suppose, but you know, the hood's kind of like I have no idea what the dimensions of it are, so hopefully that was nice and easy to follow is what I'm trying to say in a very roundabout way. And once you've completely filled in the hood, you're going to want to have something which should look a little bit like this. And once you have completely finished doing the hood, you should be left with a 100% fully completed exploding TNT statue. And I've got to tell you guys, this is a pretty nice looking statue. Look at this guy. Let's take a nice 360. This is what you want to end up with if everything has went right for you. If you have managed to follow this tutorial 100% to the letter, this is hopefully what you guys are looking at. And I really love this statue. I say that about all of my statues, but you know what, I think not only is it because this is quite a unique design, it's quite a very detailed statue. If you ignore the back of the statue, which is just a cloak, the front of the statue is really, really cool, and I like the head and I like the colours, it's nice and vibrant. I wouldn't have liked to have tried making this statue if all we had was wool. I'm glad that I have clay. Whilst it still would have been possible through the use of pink wool and red wool, it just wouldn't look the same. Nice looking statue, hopefully you guys like it. It was very, very highly requested. I'm not sure when I'll be making my next YouTuber, but I have a list as long as you could possibly imagine of names. It might even be Little Lizard Gaming, because I've actually made him because I like his skin, and he's a very popular YouTuber. I'm pretty sure that you guys have requested him before, but we'll see. We'll see who I end up doing. So, thanks for watching, guys, and leave a suggestion for who you think I should make in the next YouTuber statue. It'll probably be sometime next week, but we'll see.